I just like,
Yeah, so I don't convince them about God either. There's only one debate that I thrust towards atheists constantly, and I get them every time. First of all, we can't prove that God exists. Okay, we can't prove he doesn't exist either. All we have is evidence on both sides. There's evidence that he doesn't exist. There's evidence he does exist. However, what we could prove is the existence of a good God in people's lives. People's lives being turned around. That we could prove. That people who are religious, they volunteer more. They're more courteous. They're kinder. They live happier lives. This we could prove.
that's a fact. Yeah, that's a
And that
fact.
itself should be enough to get an atheist to at least start identifying as an optimistic agnostic, saying, like, I may not be convinced that God exists, or I may not know that God exists, but I sure hope he does, because my neighbor is a freaking sweetheart. I mean, compared to my other Antifa purple haired neighbor, whose dog craps on my freaking yard. That you'll get them every time, and it'll frustrate them. They'll be like, oh, atheists are more ethical than religious people. According to what poll? I get them every time, and it drives them up the wall. Because if an atheist is honest with himself or herself, they would say that they wish they were wrong, right? I mean, they may not be convinced, they may not believe that God exists, but the idea that they don't want God to exist is the bigger problem. Because if they were honest, saying, you know what? I mean, I've seen what the idea of God in the Bible has done in your life. I really wish this was true, but I just don't believe in God. That's what a sensible person would say, a reasonable person. But saying Christians are the worst, everything that reminds them of Sunday school when they were young just drives them up the wall. It shows that most of these atheists, what they are wounded theists.
Well, yeah, it's true. But the problem is that a properly practicing Christian is nothing like the ones is nothing compared to the people that they insult. Like the atheists will say, "Oh, Christians are all, they're evil, whatever," and that's not really a Christian. A properly practicing Christian is actually a very good person. Actually, good, kind-hearted people that help people around them. But I think that the atheists are mistaking these fake people that are claiming to be Christian, those that party on the weekends and
The thing
goes to
that frustrates me is here on TikTok when I see Christians, and this is a trend, not just I see Jews and Muslims do this, but not as much. Christians now have this trend because of, I don't know, like if you're familiar with Sam Shimon and Albi and all these Assyrian Christians, that
yeah,
they
yeah,
freaking curse like a drunken sailor